baby, we're back. Woo! It's that time again. Pull up a chair, Cleat. Come on and sit on down because we are going to be doing r/Am I the asshole? Or on the show, we say I am the weenie. Yes. Before I get into these tea-filled stories, I want to thank everyone listening and watching on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You guys can get this on the go over on those platforms as well and anywhere else you can get podcasts. All right, let's get into it, y'all. All right, this first one. Am I the weenie for not saying anything about the underwear? The underwear, and it's a deleted user. That's never good. My 20-year-old daughter and her fiancé are currently staying with us. I love my daughter, but she is very difficult and I can't stand her fiancé. I gave them a deadline to move out because I can't take this anymore. I love my daughter. She's the sweetest. But when she's with that guy, I cannot. They got into a massive fight the other day while my wife was out. I guess a pair of my wife's underwear got in with their laundry and she thought he was cheating. I think the fact she immediately jumped to cheating shows how bad their relationship is. She was waving the underwear around and I recognized they had a floral print. I'm just imagining her just swinging it around like she would be enthusiastic about it, but she's actually screaming about it instead. I recognized them because they had a floral print, but I just let this ridiculous fight go on. My wife came home after about 30 minutes and said they were hers. My wife asked if I didn't realize they were hers, and I accidentally laughed. Ooh, in front of them? That's rough. My daughter burst into tears and won't talk to me now. Her fiancé said we're fucked and left the house, but my wife thought it was funny. Okay, so this immediately to me kind of strikes as everyone sucks. Here's why. Because the dad could have, in my opinion, interjected any time that he wanted. He clearly knew that the underwear were his wife's. But then again, this isn't his fight. I can kind of see it two ways. Because at first, it was kind of confusing me as I was reading this towards the end that he did say that he's basically kicking them out, him and his wife. I don't know what the decision was. If it was unanimous or if it was just his decision. But obviously, he is tired of his daughter and her fiance living in the house. And this probably is not the first time that they've been present for an argument. OP, I mean. I'm also confused why the daughter thinks that, why she doesn't seem to connect the dots that there's another woman living in the house. It's probably not her fiance just being all forgetful and bringing some other woman over to her parents' house. That's kind of bold. But when he says that, I think the fact she immediately jumped to cheating just shows how bad their relationship is. Some might say that's a little cruel, but I think he's just pointing out, he's just making a blatant observation. And I kind of agree. I think that she didn't connect the dots, that it could be the mom, so she immediately jumps to cheating. That's kind of a red flag. But also, the dad could have stepped in at any time and stopped. And also, I know we're not really asking if the wife was the weenie, but like she thought it was funny. Probably after the whole thing happened where the daughter probably stormed off crying and then the fiance left. Her fiance saying we're fucked. Like, I'm assuming that's their relationship. But also, I mean, I don't know. He could have gone with the daughter at that point because obviously during that argument at the end of it, when the wife asks, I'm assuming that this happened all in front of them when they were arguing or something. The mom was like, you didn't know that these were mine? And then that caused the daughter to burst into tears, run away or whatnot, not go completely contactless with the dad. Or I'm thinking too far outside the box. She burst into tears, hasn't talked to him. Fiance moved out of the house and maybe they broke up. I don't know. But either way, I think everyone sucks here. I don't know. Let's see what the comments think. The top comment says, you might be the weenie, but I am living for it. Edit. My personal verdict is you're the weenie, but I'd like to invoke Shitman versus Frick Boy, which states that in times of outlandish or otherwise infantile behavior, assholery may, subject to scrutiny, be permitted. Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, I kind of agree. Sometimes it is needed. I mean, I would be, if I lived in a house where my daughter and her fiance were arguing all the fucking time, I would either move or I'd end up on the 11 o'clock news. One of the two things are going to happen. Oh, this unlocked a core memory for me. Did you ever watch that 70s show? Donna finds a pair of panties in Eric's car and thinks he's cheating. The whole episode is everyone trying to figure out who they belong to. Finally, Donna's super hot mom sees them and says they're hers. All the guys start bowing down to Eric till the mom says something like, "Ew, no, me and Bob." She went on to explain how they've been married a long time and like to spice things up by doing it in different places. Eric had left his car unlocked. So then, of course, all the kids were grossed out thinking about Donna's parents having sex in the car. I do remember that. Because I think Hyde and Kelso were in the house, and as soon as she's like, "No, those are mine," they're just got on their knees. They're like, "God, you are a god." Oh, man. I mean, Danny Masterson aside, that I loved that 70s show. One other comment. Yeah, but mom was laughing too. I think her and hubby are the perfect couple, though. This is something my dad and mom would do. Yeah. And also, like I said before, she's young. She's 20. If this doesn't work out, hey, she'll probably end up with somebody who doesn't constantly argue in her parents' house while they're staying there. And who knows? Maybe she's also insufferable and she needs to get the hell out of that house. I don't know. I wish I had further context, but author deleted their account. So they got yeeted off the internet, and so is this part of the video. You like that? You guys like that? Am I the weenie if I stop paying my daughter's tuition over a disgusting comment she made towards my new girlfriend? All right off the bat, kind of seems a little petty on the parents' part. Not paying tuition. Sometimes, unless you're born with a silver spoon in your mouth, that student loans and stuff like that, and you're paying that off for the rest of your life. But this might be a decision that you end up regretting for the rest of your life, OP. Let's take a look. My 56 male wife died at the young age of 51 from a car accident. First off, I'm really sorry. That is an incredibly traumatic thing to have to go through. And I'm so sorry you had to go through that. I was in deep mourning for about a year after her death. I met my new girlfriend, C, 43 female, around January. C was the one who made me laugh for the first time after my wife died. She's smart as hell. 3 Ivy League degrees. I'd say that's smart. I'm a college dropout. So, has a dark sense of humor that I love, a terrific cook, and overall an amazing woman who I can imagine spending the rest of my life with. Aw, that's sweet. She's also on the heavier side, a fact that becomes relevant later. All right. I have 2 children, E and A. This is going to get confusing. When Reddit posts start giving people, labeling them with letters, I get confused. They were well aware that I had gotten a new girlfriend before I introduced them to C this summer. She got along immediately with E, but A was very, very standoffish. After that initial meeting, I asked A if there was something wrong, but she denied it. C made a few more attempts to get to know A, but they were all rudely rejected. E and A came home for Thanksgiving dinner. I asked A to please be polite during the meal since she's always been rude in her interactions with C, even though C has been nothing but gracious in return. That is like asking somebody who is absolutely irate, going on a rampage, to calm down. You don't do that. You're opening the floodgates to your own personal hell by being like, "Please, don't be mean to my new girlfriend. I know that your mom died about a little over a year ago, but I'm trying to be happy. Please be happy for me. I know you might be struggling inside and fighting demons of your own, but please be happy for me." I hated that I did that. I hated every single second. The dinner was going as well as it could have for the first 10 minutes, although I noticed A glaring at C the entire time. When C went to grab her third helping of mashed potatoes, A said, "Don't you think you've eaten enough, you fat pig?" Whoa! C started sobbing immediately and ran off into the bedroom. I felt my face turn red and told A to get out. Oh boy. About half an hour later, I left a text saying I would no longer be paying her tuition unless 1, she apologized to C, and 2, C accepts her apology. A must have assumed that I was bluffing because she instead doubled down on her behavior during Thanksgiving dinner. I then logged into her university's tuition payment website, canceled next semester's tuition, and sent A the screenshots. She called me crying and begging me to reconsider, but I told her my mind was made up. Wow. Okay. Okay, so yeah, I was right in my first assumption. That is a little petty, my guy. That is a little petty. Listen, I know that in my Tinder videos, I've said everyone deserves love. And obviously you went through a very traumatic situation with your wife passing from a car accident. That's one of the most that's something that I think everybody subconsciously fears, worries about, is that somebody that they care about, dying in a car accident or something like crazy like that. So obviously that is a completely understandable reason for, when you met C, your new girlfriend, this new light coming into your life, this new positive energy that brought you feelings and emotions that you haven't felt since your late wife. That's obviously something that I've never had to experience. But of course, you're gonna want to have her come around, and you're gonna want to introduce her to your kids. But they're both incredibly young. A, being 19, any age is just terrible to lose a parent, but especially at that young of an age, when she's still a teenager, she's about to enter her 20s. That is an incredibly confusing time. That's some trauma that's going to be imprinted on you for the rest of your life. She has to deal with her grief, and you don't know what she's going through unless there's details that are obviously being left out of the story, not on purpose, of course, not maliciously, but it makes me wonder why she would just go straight for the gut like that. Why, maybe something else has transpired between them that OP hasn't seen. And we are getting this just from his perspective. A lot of these stories, sometimes you just get that, and it's a very biased take of the story. I also find it funny that the dinner was going as well as it could after the first 10 minutes, kind of insinuating that 10 minutes is the new high score before shit hits the fan whenever C comes over and A is around. I don't know. I just really wish that I knew why A went so crazy so fast about the mashed potatoes. Listen, I've had a third helping of mashed potatoes before. I fucking love potatoes. If I got room, chances are, out of all the things on the table, if there's a potato dish, I'm going for that. And also, you OP are fucking with your daughter's tuition. You're fucking with her education by doing this. And I don't know what you thought you were going to try and prove, or what you were really expecting after, sending the screenshots and whatnot. That's incredibly petty behavior. I think that you should have and sit down with C together maybe and figure something out, because you did sit down with your daughter and she insists that there's nothing wrong. But, maybe she's just, this is her way of rebelling against it, But at the same time, calling someone a fat pig, your dad's girlfriend, especially if she has been really gracious to them, and in this case, I think everyone kind of sucks, except for C. And of course, the son. The son barely got mentioned. He's the one that has to sit here at this awkward Thanksgiving dinner. Thankfully, it's nothing as awkward as the Thanksgiving from the bear or something like that. But I think everyone kind of sucks here. The daughter for saying that, for calling OP's girlfriend a fat pig, and OP for canceling her tuition. The top comment, everyone sucks here. Something more is undoubtedly going on between C and A. You need to find out why A has such a strong dislike of her and reacted so strongly. A is probably still deep in mourning for her mother. Yes, exactly. You've managed to put your grief behind you, but the process is much slower for some people. Seeing C in her mother's place at Thanksgiving was probably very hard on your daughter. That doesn't excuse her rudeness, but it might explain it. Secondly, you've made your daughter's tuition dependent on C accepting her apology, as the fees are something between you and your daughter that's not appropriate, especially as C seems to be the issue here. That's true. He did say that. I don't know why I didn't catch that. I mean, I already had it solidified that he's being a weenie, but leaving the condition that if C accepts her apology, what if she doesn't? Then in an ideal world, she'd probably just, yes, it probably hurt her really bad, but I'm sure she wants to make, good on the daughter, as she is going to be dating her father potentially. So I'm sure that she would accept her apology, even if in her heart she doesn't. I mean, we've all been there, right? But that's kind of shitty to have that as a stipulation. You know, she has to accept your apology before I give you your money back, and she has to apologize as well. But man, that is that's insane. I don't know, man. If I had a daughter and she called me crying about something, I don't know. I call me a weak, pathetic man for having empathy for other human beings. But I mean, I know in today's day and age, having empathy as a man or just as a person in general, wow. Like if my daughter called me crying, I'd be whisked back to when she was a little tyke and just fell off of her bike or scraped her leg for the first time and came crying to me or her mother. And I would fold. You know, I think some solid communication here needs to happen, because you already lost your wife, OP. Doing this is just going to continue to push your daughter away. You need to get to the bottom of what's going on here. And also, you know, like you may have been able to move forward, and that doesn't necessarily mean that your kids are, especially your daughter. I'm going to agree with the flare and say everyone sucks. Yes, she said something mean. That's kind of inexcusable, but there has to be, there's layers there. She didn't just say it just to be mean. There are layers behind this, and you need to get in there and help peel those layers back. You know, she may have to go to therapy. You should also go to therapy. Maybe the son does. I don't know. We haven't really talked about the son all that much, but but man, I can't imagine. You know, he's sitting there just trying to enjoy his dinner. Meanwhile, he's just every once in a while he looks over and his sister's just, and the poor girlfriend C is just. Am I the weenie for telling my daughter she doesn't have the right to mourn or go to her ex-friend's funeral after what she did? What did she do? New account since my daughter does know my other account. Why do we do this, guys? If it gets popular and you're like, this is one of the most frequented subreddits on the site. Oh my God. When my daughter was in school, she became friends with a girl named Kelly. They stayed close through college, and my daughter was even one of Kelly's bridesmaids when she got married. This is not going to end well. To explain where my daughter's behavior came from, my ex-husband cheated on me repeatedly, and our marriage ended horribly. Bastard! My daughter doesn't speak to her father anymore, and she absolutely despises cheating. About 7 years ago, my daughter became convinced that Kelly was cheating on her husband. Oh no. She started harassing Kelly online and essentially blew up her life. By the time my daughter found out that the man she had seen Kelly with was actually a relative, they were at a fancy restaurant together, it was too late. Oh, fuck no. Kelly's marriage had already fallen apart, and because we live in a very religious community, she was ostracized by many people. Oh my God, that's cringe. First of all, that's cringe that people will just take, yeah, she's a cheater, just take it out of her word. She's a Jezebel. Out of the community with her. Shun her. To the gallows. Just blowing up her entire life. You hate to see it. They had a huge falling out, and it basically came down to my daughter ruining Kelly's life. Kelly blocked her on everything and eventually moved away. Kelly hated my daughter after that, and so did her mother. I still run into Kelly's mother occasionally, and she has made her feelings about my daughter very clear. The issue is that Kelly recently passed away. My daughter found out through a Facebook post, and the funeral is this weekend, 2 states away. Oh no, don't do that. My daughter was planning to attend the funeral, and I told her that I thought it was a terrible idea. Yeah, because it is a terrible idea. Out of all the ideas I've ever heard in my 40-some-odd years on the planet, hate it. She said she needed to go, and I told her again that she shouldn't. We got into an argument, and she said she had every right to mourn her friend and attend the funeral. Wrong. I told her that she really didn't have the right to mourn Kelly or go to the funeral because Kelly hated her after everything that happened, and because my daughter had destroyed her life. She hasn't spoken to me since. Now I'm wondering if I should warn Kelly's family that my daughter might show up at the funeral or that I might be in the wrong here. That would probably be one of the first things that I'm doing, is getting on the horn with somebody in the family being like, hey, I'm so sorry for your loss. I can't imagine what you're going through. But my crazy daughter is coming to your daughter's funeral. Call the cops. Get the National Guard. Get everybody that you can. Wow. I don't understand how some people just do not have the capability to understand the gravity of their sins, their wrongdoings, their shitty behavior. Oh, man, I don't know how OP's daughter thinks that she has. Well, first off, I mean, she can mourn her friend. OP is saying, I told her she didn't really have the right to mourn Kelly. She can have the right, but she definitely does not deserve to go to the funeral, or in this case, have the right to go, in my opinion. But I don't know. Am I wrong? Let me know. I think that if she shows up there, it's like something straight out of a movie where somebody's longtime rival shows up at their funeral or their wedding, and everyone just kind of, the doors open and then everyone looks back and there's a couple gasps in the audience. People are going quiet, and a lot of the men are like, is that a scary face? Am I intimidating? I also do wonder if she is doing this just for attention. I would not be surprised if she is just doing this for attention. The top comment, not the weenie, but your entire community is, and your daughter too. Yep, I agree. Obviously, you were not in the wrong. I know a lot of times people will come on here and they think that they are the weenie, the asshole, what have you. But a lot of times it just turns out, no, they're not. They just need some validation. And this whole section, myself here, I'm sure people in this community, stand with you, OP. Your daughter is insane for thinking that this is a good idea. And the fact that you live in a religious community, which, you know, whatever, but it is that cult mentality that I just cannot stand, that because somebody supposedly made a mistake. Like, granted, I hate cheating. Cheating is awful. It's one of the worst things that you can do to another person. But she wasn't cheating. But the whole town chose to believe it because of OP's daughters, you know, going on social media, destroying her life and accusing her of something that's not true. When it comes to like cheating allegations and stuff like that, or, you know, this is the type of stuff that can ruin people's lives. And, you know, a lot of times it comes out they're true, and, you know, that's for those people to deal with. That's their own fuck up. It's for them to deal with. But in this case, Kelly did not deserve to have this like paranoid woman just completely forcefully uproot her life. Like, she had to move like 2 states over. Insane behavior. That friendship has sailed long ago. You can mourn your friend who hates your guts and probably died hating your guts, and probably wishes that if hell's real that you end up going there for doing this to her. There's a time and place for things, but this ain't it, Chief. You should not be going to the funeral. I think that OP is not the weenie. They should absolutely 100%, 100,000%, 100 million % call and warn somebody that this is going to happen. Can you imagine they end up hiring security for the funeral just for one person? Like, be on the lookout for this person. She might look like this. All right, in honor of this really hot summer that we have been going through, this story is for all of you suffering out there in the heat as well. Am I the weenie for wearing a bikini to a pool party with the dress code swimwear? Plot twist, this is my story. I'm asking if I can wear a bikini to the pool party. And can I come to your pool party, please? For context, I'm a 31-year-old woman. A family friend has a large house with a swimming pool and recently hosted a pool party because we have had such good weather. I wish I could say that we have. It has been hot as I was one of the people invited, and the dress code was specified as swimwear. People would be attending of all ages. Really? Even 100-year-olds? Man, I hope when I'm 100 years old that I have the confidence to wear a bikini still. I probably will. I attended wearing a bikini. It was just a normal bikini, nothing skimpy or anything. It covered everything up, including my butt. It wasn't a thong problem. The party was really fun, and everyone seemed to have a great time. Nobody gave any indication of having a problem with my outfit, although all the other women were wearing one pieces rather than a bikini. When I was leaving, the host took me aside and told me that my outfit was completely unacceptable. I was totally taken aback because I didn't think there was anything wrong with it, and nobody seemed to have a problem. She waited until the very end? Like, I mean, I don't have a problem with her wearing this, but like, I mean, obviously the host did. She said I should have known it was unacceptable to wear a bikini because there were teenage boys there, and a woman in a bikini is distracting and teasing. Okay, all right. I was really shocked because at no point did I feel like my outfit was causing any issues. I guess, like, I don't think you're the weenie here. Honestly, because I mean, it's summertime. I know it's like people of all ages. You said that you weren't wearing like, you know, like the thong bikini or anything like that. You were covered. Oh no, her belly button was exposed. Oh no, not that. I hope that becomes a meme somehow. What's it saying? Yeah, I mean, if nobody was giving you a problem, like, and obviously there was the host was definitely talking to, you know, her inner group, just be like, do you see what she's wearing? Disgusting. Like, my teenage boys are running around here. I'm gonna sexualize her because she's wearing a bikini. That's the one thing. We all know that's the one thing that boys think about, and it's disgusting. You specified swimwear. That's swimwear. I don't know why you waited until the very end. Probably because you're clearly awkward and a terrible host because you didn't properly specify don't dress like a slut. The teenage son thing kind of, to me, sounds like a bit of a cop-out for something else. If there's a pool, there's a barbecue, people are going to be wearing, you know, all types of swimwear. And also, like, why'd you have to just go right ahead and sexualize it? Like, yeah, like when we're all wearing our bathing suits, like if I'm wearing a bathing suit, my tits are out. We're all going to be showing skin at this party, like a little bit maybe, but it sounds like she was wearing a modest bikini. But the comments seem to think that the reason why OP did this was for her husband. Somebody saying probably nothing to do with teenage boys and more to do with her husband. To which somebody replied, the teenagers would be bad enough with normal swimwear, so the bikini wouldn't make a difference. I think you nailed it. The host spotted her husband getting a good look-see. Yeah, so I filtered the comments wrong. Apparently, OP has stated in the comments, under multiple comments, that she caught the host's husband staring, like glancing at her quite a few times. So, okay, it wasn't anything to do with the teenage boys. I mean, maybe it was, but also it absolutely was 100% about the husband. That's creepy. It's pervy. Get mad at your husband about it. Don't get mad at her. She's just there to have a good time. And she wasn't doing it on purpose. Like, it's not his fault that he's a fucking pig. But, like, my God. Also, some people just don't know how to be discreet about anything. Like, some people will just openly, like, stare, like, and someone has to, like, come, like, pull their jaw off the floor. Like, Jesus. As a society, I think that we're kind of getting further and further away from the idea that, oh, you're showing too much skin, you're showing too much shoulder. Like, we're moving far, far away from that now. And, you know, beachwear, swimwear, it's perfectly, you know, appropriate for people to basically just be in their underwear at this point. But, yeah, it's wild. You're not the weenie, OP. The hostess is the weenie here, and husband is the weenie. Those two need to have a talk. You know, don't take your jealousy out on the person who's just trying to have a good time. Talk to the actual problem, your husband. And that's going to do it for me for this week of Spicy Reddit Stories. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Feel free to like and share and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate it. Again, thank you to everybody who has been watching and listening over on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We love you. We love you. Mwah, mwah.